Every 2 hours, a child is born with Rett syndrome, but families may not see any signs that anything is wrong until between 6 to 18 months. That's typically when children begin to regress and start to lose abilities that they've already acquired. They may lose the ability to walk or talk or have purposeful use of their hands.
We have 2 little girls with Rett syndrome, Kaylee and Kenzie. They are identical twins. They're 6 years old. It's kind of like having a combination of a lot of different disorders: cerebral palsy, epilepsy, Parkinson's, anxiety, autism. Put all those things together, and that is really what Rett syndrome looks like.
Most families, when diagnosed, have never heard of Rett syndrome before. Every child shares a unique and important story that needs our attention and asks that we reach out now and do what we can to help.
I guess the hardest part for us, even in the beginning and even today, is the fact that Caitlin can't tell you what she's feeling, what's wrong, if she gets sick, what's hurting. You know, those are the toughest parts, I think, of Rett syndrome.
Rett syndrome families are some of the most courageous, passionate, hardworking families I've ever met. They're eager to see a better life for their child, for their family. And they're eager to recapture some of the lost dreams that Rett syndrome has stolen from their family.
Ava has not followed what you would typically see with a Rett syndrome child. She developed, she walked, and she talked, and she sang. She played figurines in the floor with her brother forever. With the exception of her speech lacking its development, she was your typical average 3, 4, 5-year-old. We kept pushing on because her speech was continuing not to develop. And we sat in the doctor's office and Ava started to wring her hands. And the doctor said, well, now I understand why she started doing this with her hands. And he shared with us that she had Rett syndrome. And then you wake up one day and you go, she doesn't use a fork anymore. She doesn't drink out of her cup anymore. And so over time, you start to realize that things are falling off, things are regressing.
First thing you want to know is what's going on with my daughter. I want to understand. And so we're at a place now of great understanding. We've moved from the understanding mode toward the treatment mode. And that's a really exciting transition for neuroscience. It's an exciting transition, I hope, for parents. The tools are all there. We have what we need. It's not the case that the science doesn't have enough information. We've sequenced the entire genome of people with Rett syndrome, people without Rett syndrome. We know what's going on. We're putting the pieces together to develop a new treatment. And there's a lot of exciting options, from electrical stimulation to injectables to pharmacotherapies, and any one of those may be the breakout treatment we've all been waiting for.
I feel like there's so much science going on with Rett syndrome. Even from the time the girls got diagnosed a few years ago till now, things have accelerated so much.
There's a couple of drugs in the pipeline that I think are very encouraging. They have the ability to improve their quality of life, which is huge.
There are therapies that are being tested, and so arriving at a treatment for the disease may be closer than ever. So we're making progress on the science, which is a fundamental step for families.
For us, the impact of funding is immediate. When someone donates $1, that dollar is matched by a number of other people with the same common cause. We start a project.
So these investments in research are really important, not just for what they're doing now, but for what they're doing for the future.
And now is the time to donate for our daughter and for all the other Rett families, and we can't do it alone. We want to see her the way we saw her at 3.
Rett syndrome doesn't have the funding that other disorders and diseases have. We're at a time where science is moving quickly, where every single dollar counts.
There's new light shining on life-changing treatments as we get closer than we ever have before. For the last 20 years, RettSyndrome.org has been focused on delivering research with results while empowering families. Our unwavering focus has helped us identify and support multiple compounds that have moved into clinical trials. So the horizon is actually very bright for those living with Rett syndrome.
You know, what would be nice is that one day, if there was a cure, that I would actually be able to walk her down an aisle. She would actually be able to get married and have a family.
Before Kaylee regressed, we heard her talk. She could say things. She could say mama. She could say baba. She could say her alphabet. So to be able to hear her voice again would be amazing. To be able to hear Kenzie talk would be just miraculous. And to see them be able to interact together as sisters and play the way little sisters should, that's the biggest thing I want to see.
We all can play a part in helping pursue that better life for their children. And when we do, we can actually create, we believe, a world without Rett syndrome.